Hello, this is David Kahn, the chairman of the Republican Liberty Caucus of Arizona. I'm here with our Secretary Treasurer, Ben Beckhart, and we wanted to take a little bit of time to talk about the election results and how that's going to affect us moving forward here in Arizona. So to start out, Ben, what do you think about the national results that we need to have an eye on?
I know a lot of people, a lot of Republicans in Arizona are not really happy right now. You look at the top two races on our ballots, and you got Trump and McSally. And right now, we're recording this on Sunday afternoon. They're both down. There's a lot of different reasons for that, but I think if you throw those two out, I think they don't apply evenly to the rest of the stuff in Arizona. Because if you throw those two out, Republicans did pretty well, in my opinion, this election. We all got those initial results on 8 o'clock on election day, and it all looked like a doomsday scenario for Republicans because the first batch of ballots were all those early ballots that the Democrats had really high turnout with. And then once you got the other updates coming in, the Republicans turned out really well towards election day, and we saw a lot of those races come back. So we saw David Schweikert was down, but now he came back, and they already called that race. So David Schweikert keeps his seat, which is great because they spent a ton of money trying to defeat him. And so that's great for Republicans. And then all the other congressional seats look like they stay the same. So that's the federal races.
Absolutely. And of course, we want to spend most of our time talking about the state level politics as we're a state charter. The first thing to look at, I think, was the Corporation Commission.
Yeah, the Corporation Commission, it's going to stay Republican. It looks like we lost one seat to Democrat Anna Tovar, and that's not a huge surprise. They spent a ton of money on her, but we keep the majority. Republicans keep the majority on the Corporation Commission 3-2. We got Jim O'Connor getting on there, which is great, and then Aaliyah Marquez Peterson gets her seat that she was appointed to. So, and a lot of people are saying even though we lost one seat on that Corporation Commission, the Republican majority is more conservative now because the two outgoing Republicans on there that retired were really moderate. And now we got a strong conservative in Jim O'Connor, and you already got Justin Olson on there. So we're in good shape for the Corporation Commission.
That's definitely good news. And we have a lot of close races here in Maricopa County. What are the ones that people should still have their eye on?
Yeah, and the Maricopa County offices were another one, on election night. They looked really bad. All the Democrats were leading. But, as the votes have trickled in, looks like Republicans are going to hold the majority on the County Board of Supervisors and most of the county offices. There's a couple that are too close to call still for Board of Supervisors, Jack Sellers, and I think it's Devin Hodge. They're both separated by less than 2,000 votes. So that one's going to go down to the wire. I think they still have about 40,000 ballots left to count. So we don't have the results on that one yet. The big one is Stephen Richer. He pulled ahead of Adrian Fontes yesterday on Saturday. And right now, as we're recording this, he's up by about 2,700 votes. And every update they post is a boost to Richer. So that's good news. Hopefully he pulls that out. That'd be great.
Absolutely. And I think the real thing that Republicans should be happy about is that we maintain control of the legislature. It's a narrow margin, but it happened. What are your thoughts there?
Yeah, that's huge. That's the number one thing for me this this election was keeping the legislature in Republican hands. We knew that the Democrats were going to spend a ton of money. They did. They spent over $10 million trying to flip our legislature. They only had to win a few seats to flip it, and they failed, which is great because I didn't know what to expect going into election day. I didn't know if we were going to lose it or not. I was prepared for the worst. But we had some great Republican turnout. We had some great candidates, and all the legislators did a great job campaigning and getting that vote out. It looks like we're going to lose one seat in the House in LD20. Anthony Kern is down, but it will be a wash because in LD4, Joel John is on track to unseat a Democrat incumbent in that district. So we will maintain a 31-29 majority in the Arizona House. And then over in the Senate, everything stays the same except for right now, Brophy McGee is down in her race, but it's still pretty close. I think they're separated by 600 votes or something. But it looks like, I don't know if there's enough ballots for her to catch up or not. But regardless, they're still going to keep that 16-14 majority in the Senate, which is also good news.
That is excellent news. And I think there's a lot to be happy about for Liberty in these results. I was told by our friends at Americans for Prosperity that all 11 of the individuals, candidates they endorsed were successful. And I believe we didn't endorse quite so many people at the Republican Liberty Caucus, but I believe all of the people we endorsed won as well.
Yeah, we had a slate of 6 legislators that we endorsed with the Republican Liberty Caucus. All 6 are reelected back, so that's excellent news.
So there's a lot of good stuff in there, not just in terms of victories, but in terms of the quality, maintaining a good voice for liberty there. So to wrap up, let's take a look at a few different things. What do you think was the biggest surprise for this election?
For my biggest surprise, honestly, it was Wendy Rogers' big win in LD6 for the state Senate seat. I think this is her 5th time running for office, 5th consecutive election cycle. I honestly thought that she wasn't electable and that she was a little bit polarizing, but she won big. She won, it looks like her lead right now is over 11,000 votes. So good for her. She defied the odds. And that's huge because we needed that seat to keep the Senate. If she lost that race, we would have lost the Senate. So that's good news.
Definitely good news. I think my biggest surprise was how well Jim O'Connor's campaign went. It was pretty impressive to see how broad his support was as a write-in candidate. And he got nearly 1.4 million votes. Very solid performance. And I think there's a lot we can learn about building a good coalition campaign there. On the other end, I think my biggest disappointment was the 208 prop, the tax increase. That's going to have real impact on our economy. And when you have propositions like that, they're extremely hard to undo. So we're going to have to take a hard look at how to respond to that and how to make sure we don't have problems like that in the future. I think that there was a lot of outside money involved in that one.
Yeah, for biggest disappointment, I would say the exact same thing. Prop 208 passing is a big bummer. It's not good for our economy. You know, the dollars that get allocated aren't really accountable. We can't really repeal it because it's voter approved. Hopefully our legislature going forward can do some tax reform to work around that, and that will make our tax structure better with what they can do with that. It's really disappointing because I think it passed by just 51%. So you literally have 51% of the people voting to take money away from other people. It's like, that's, taxation is theft in that case. It's really disappointing.
And that was actually a tough one to answer. There are a number of elections and issues going on that were big disappointments, but I think the broad impact of 208, it makes it the biggest concern.
Yeah, and if I could add, my other big disappointment was seeing Anthony Kern lose his seat in the House, because he has always scored really well on our legislative scorecards. He's got a solid small government conservative record. If Anthony's watching, we will miss you in the legislature. Thank you for your service. And yeah.
My thoughts was along the same lines. I was disappointed Travis Angry didn't get in. I thought based on his messaging, he could have been a strong advocate for liberty, and it's unfortunate we won't be able to see what he could do in the legislature. I hope he'll stay involved, and I'd love to work with him in the future. But we do have some good news on the other end. I think the biggest reason for celebration is that it's looking at the moment like Stephen Richards is going to win. If he wins, that's going to be the biggest win of the election, because we have had so many problems with the recorder's office, and it will be a huge difference maker. So I'm hoping he pulls that off. Otherwise, I'm just really happy to see we maintained control of the state legislature.
Yeah, the best reason for Republicans to celebrate in this election here in Arizona is that we kept our legislature red. That's so big. If you compare, the differences on our scorecards with their voting records, it's night and day. We're Liberty Republicans, we're more libertarian leaning. So, I'm gonna be the first to admit there's sometimes where I'm disappointed in Republican legislators, but I'll take them over Democrats any day. You can see the big difference in their voting records, and they give us something to work with. They're better than Democrats by far. So it's great to see that we keep the legislature red.
And looking at the legislature win, I think of the newcomers to the state legislature, the one I'm most excited about is Jacqueline Parker. Again, I think she has a great voice on the issues, a good bridge between more libertarian views and conservative views, and I think she'll be a huge asset for the party in that role.
Yeah, and I'll agree with that for sure. My favorite newcomer this election is I'm going to go with Joel John in LD4. He won that flipped that seat in LD4 for the House. I haven't met him, but I've followed his campaign closely and talked to people that do know him. And I think he ran a textbook campaign for how Republicans need to run for office in Arizona, because we are in a purple state and we need to run, grassroots campaigns where we build relationships with voters in the community and, campaign on the bread and butter issues that people care about. And he did that perfectly. And that's why he won. So hopefully we can see more of that going forward.
Absolutely. Looking forward to working with both of them. And they both ran really strong campaigns. So I think they're going to have bright futures in the party here. So I think that's it for us for today. We're going to have a members meeting on November the 14th to discuss everything going on with the AZ GOP going into 2021, and more specifically, what the Republican Liberty Caucus can and should do as we move into the new legislative session.
Yeah, if you'd like to join us at that meeting, it is a members only meeting, but if you're not a member and you'd still like to come, reach out to us. We'd love to have you join us and learn more about us. And that meeting is this Saturday at 10 a.m. If you'd like to join as an RLC member, you can go to rlc.org and sign up as a member there.
Thanks for watching and have a great day.